Hey guys, welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. Today's guest is Robert Farquhar, Senior Executive Officer at PRYPCO Blocks, to unveil the innovative concept of fractional property ownership. We're here to talk about what that means and why is it attractive to investors here and abroad. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here on this beautiful, fresh and dry Friday morning.
Happy to be here. And yeah, honestly, lovely morning. Lovely morning.
It is. Just want to start off with you. What is PRYPCO Blocks?
So PRYPCO Blocks is a way for investors to get into the real estate market without having to have the funds to purchase an entire property. So we source properties in the market, we break them down into little blocks, and then we sell those blocks on to people. Now, if you own 10% of a property, you get 10% of the returns. So you can get the returns of real estate without having to have all the funds up front.
Okay, sounds easy. So it sounds like people without big funds to buy a property, we can get in. So this is essentially fractional ownership, which I hadn't heard of until this week, but I compare it to a timeshare, for example. So how does it differ to what a timeshare is?
So it's a question we get asked all the time. So timeshares where you invest in a property and you can go and see it. So in the UK, obviously it was very common to have timeshares in Spain. You would head over and you would spend a bit of time over there. The way that we do this is you don't actually stay in that property. This is purely for investment purposes. So these are people that just want to see that return. So it's just a way, instead of putting your money in the bank and seeing interest come through, putting in stocks and shares, you can put it in real estate. And we all know that real estate is historically one of the best performing assets.
And like investing wise, is it like rental or like it will be like resaled?
So it's both. And that's the beauty of it. Most of the questions I get, I always just put back to, if you bought a property yourself and you held the whole property, how would it work? You'd get the rental and you'd get the resale, the capital appreciation. It works in exactly the same manner here. You just have a smaller piece of it. So rental, we give back. So we manage the property. So we give that rental dividends back to the investors on a monthly basis. Now, at the end of the investment period, we then give back the entire sale proceeds and they get their capital appreciation on top of it.
How does the managing of it work? Like, who makes the decisions? Like, what are the key concerns someone might have going into this?
So mainly the concerns that we get are, is my money safe? So I'll answer that one straight off the bat because it's a nice, easy one. So we are regulated by the DFSA. So we adhere to all regulations they have, all relevant laws. We also adhere to all client money regulations. So we have separate accounts. So one bank account, all of our client money goes into, and that's completely separate to all of our operational funds. So if anything goes wrong, completely blocked off, they get all of their money. Now, that means their funds are safe. Then when they purchase the property...
the funds that they add in is sitting in that bank account always?
Not always. We use it to then purchase the property, and then it all just funds back through there. But as soon as we use it to purchase that property, they then own that property. So we create a special purpose vehicle, which is just a company in the DIFC. And then we have those investors, owners of that company. That company is the one that then purchases the property. Now, the reason we do it like this is it gives the investors more legal comfort. It also gets it so we can have multiple investors, because we know we can only have 4 people on a title deed in normal circumstances, which, fractionally it's good if you want just 4. Whereas we want hundreds. So we have hundreds and hundreds of investors purchase a property. Now, to your point on how it's managed, it's not practical to have all of those people having input in, I want it to be managed through this agency or short term or long term. So we take the call on that. So the view is, we are specialists in this market. We know how to get best returns on that property. So the sourcing of them, we choose the best properties. We do the analysis on them. We give all of that information to the investors, and then they choose whether they want to invest and how much they want to invest.
So interesting.
I just want to know, how can someone be an investor? And also, just want to make this clear for myself. So if there's an apartment, how many people can invest in one apartment?
What's the max?
As many as you want. So we break it down to 100 blocks, 100 dirhams per block.
Oh, okay.
So whatever the price is, divide it by 100, and then that would be the maximum number.
What a great tagline, become a property owner in Dubai for 100 dirham. But I have no doubt that this is, you have that already, right?
It's slightly more. It's 2,000 dirhams is the minimum.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
And the
You own
reason
20 blocks.
the reason that we do that is we want people to see returns on the back of it. Now, obviously, the returns are as a percentage.
Yes.
Now, when you have a 2 million dirham property and you get 10% returns, it's very attractive because you get a nice amount of actual dirhams in your account. Now, when you have 100 dirhams and you get 10% of it
It's different.
over the entire life cycle, yeah, it's still 10%, but actual dirhams in your wallet, it's not a lot. So we say, you put in a little more because percentage-wise it's good, but you actually want to see that money in your pocket.
PRYPCO is a startup. Have you seen this work in markets abroad, or is this a new concept that you've created for Dubai?
So it actually works incredibly well in India. India's very on this. So they do it slightly differently though. They do it on commercial properties. We only do residential. Dubai residential real estate is booming. We know that. So that's where we focus. But the concept as a whole works tried and tested for many years.
And how can someone be an investor? Like me, myself, anyone wants to apply
Super
for
simple.
that? Yeah.
So you just go to our website, prypco.com/blocks. You then have to do a small KYC because, like I said, we're regulated. All of our investors, we have to know who they are. So this is passport, proof of address. We do a live Face ID. It's all integrated into the platform. As soon as that gets approved, which is almost always instantaneous, you can then become an investor. You just choose the property that you want to invest in, choose how much, buy.
You can choose the property as well.
Oh
Interesting.
yeah, 100%, yeah.
I just thought it was kind of you go all in. And who are you seeing more interest from? Is it kind of Dubai residents, or do you think that this is attractive for people abroad who want to kind of get their foot in?
It's throughout the world. So we see about 50-50. Half come from Dubai and half rest of world. Now, as that goes on, as we build up and as we grow, we'll see a more mature split. But at the moment, it's about half and half, which is very promising for me because people in Dubai, they know that Dubai real estate is great. Like investing in Dubai real estate,
100%.
excellent returns. However, the really interesting thing for me is the amount of people from outside of Dubai. So when we start going to other countries, and they're investing in, I think that's the biggest opportunity for me because here we love it. But being able to sell the concepts of Dubai real estate abroad so easily because we're not a real estate broker. We don't have a sales team that are going to see clients, taking them out for lunch and selling property. It's just the concepts. It's just data-driven results. So, historically, this is how this building has performed. This is how we project it to perform over the next 5 years. This is what you can expect. And that's it. People are still investing on that information.
Yes.
They're very, very keen on Dubai.
It's very good because when you have it inside your mind, if you just invest for example, 50,000, and then after a year you would see that and just get the total money and just invest the total money you have in another, with the same, in a different apartment. Like so you got like another 100 grand, so you have 200 grand, and then another year you get like 10% or 20% out of it, and you invest. So it's like money keeps going up, well, literally without you doing anything.
And honestly, it's one of the true forms of passive income in this sense, because you put your money in. We recommend a 5-year cycle for investment because when you own a property, 5 years is generally how long you want to keep it for.
Yeah.
It cuts off all the costs of purchase and whatnot, and you start seeing pure returns off the back of it.
Can you explain to me why exactly 5 years? And even though I was having looking at the website here, based on the calculation, that is super cool, by the way. You get to choose like the amount that you want to invest in, and it will just give you the amount of investment and total rent income and value in the next year. And also you mentioned like the top is 5 years. So I just want to know from your professional experience, why 5 years is the good amount to hold a property? And
this comes from real estate investment as a whole. So if you buy in the first year, we know the majority are made up by fees. So if I were to offer you a property now with 6% net yield, it's a solid investment for a yield perspective. Now, upon purchasing that property, you've got 4% DLD fees, you've got 2% broker fees, that 6% is gone already. So when you look at the overall life cycle of the property and how much you totally expect to get in, you want as many years of effectively fee-free management as you can. So first fee, heavily intensive, then your profit starts going up quite a lot as it goes on. Now, 5 years is at the point that you then make a decision. You take that money back and you can reinvest it, or you then say, I want to keep it rolling. Now, the reinvestment part is a prudent choice. Unless you've got an incredibly well-performing asset, which you can then just keep on rolling, you want to say, I'm going to take that money back and I'm going to spread it out a little bit. I'm going to diversify. So rather than have all of my money in this one property, I've made 50, 60, 70% return over this period. I'm now going to split it in half and I'm going to put it in 2 properties. So.
Making property ownership accessible to the masses is so interesting. What do you have in store in terms of expansion plans in future?
So we are moving into other countries. As you'd expect, the concept is great and we want to push it. So we're looking at Saudi at the moment. We were speaking to the regulators fairly recently over there. They're just realistically bringing this crowdfunding into light. So those conversations are a lot more formative, and we're one of the first that are looking at them to have a specific crowdfunding license. There are a couple of guys that have done other licenses over there, but we really want to stay true to what we're doing, which is retail investment, helping individuals own a property.
There you go. Fractional property ownership with PRYPCO. Thank you so much for joining us, Robert. We really appreciate your time on this Friday morning. And that brings us to the end of the show. We'll be back on Monday morning, same time, same place. Bye-bye from me.
Goodbye.
Thank you.